These are the 6 things you need to know before you start doing the keto diet. What's up, guys? It's Anthony from AB Fitness Center, where we help you to lose body fat, gain muscle, and get stronger. What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be discussing keto. There's a lot of things. Keto seems to be like the new trend. Everybody's doing keto right now. So we're going to talk about the things that you need to realize before you actually start the keto diet, because keto diet is not as easy as it sounds. So I want to cover these things. So before we get started, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button. This way you never miss a beat and you get real, applicable fitness information without the fluff. And also, if you guys have any questions, be sure to follow me on Instagram at AB Fitness, and I will answer your questions. So let's get rolling. So I boiled this down to basically 6 things, and I think they're in semi-order, right? Number 6 is really, really important. I think that's the key one. But let's start with number 1. All right, number 1, no more carbs. That's basically keto, right? No more carbs. The goal of keto, and this is why it's always, I've talked about this in so many other videos, you have to track macros no matter what diet you follow. In order to be on a true ketogenic diet, your carb intake has to be below 50 grams of carbohydrates a day. If you're not below 50 grams of carbs, you are not in ketosis. Again, everybody's a little bit different, but 50 grams of carbs is generally the standard for what it takes to push someone's body into ketosis. So is that really, a thing? Think about it. No carbs. Are you able to do that? No, and that means everything. No fruits, no beans. I'm trying to think of like other thing that people would. Peanut butter has carbs in it. Like everything that you eat pretty much has carbs in it, and you're literally taking that away. Think about that for a second before you start this. It's not as easy as it sounds. Never having carbs again. Digest that. Literally, digest that. No carbs. Okay, that's the first one. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one. We all know, ketogenic diet is really a high-fat diet, so that's really where that comes from. So, number 2, true ketogenic diets, and what most people do is actually just low carb. That's not keto. What a true ketogenic diet is 80% of the calories from the diet must come from fat, 10% from carbs, and 10% from protein. Okay, give or take. So ultimately, it's just having fat. So think about that. Is that really something that you could actually do? Can you literally just consume fat? Most people who follow these types of diets, they think they're eating keto, but they're having, steaks and chicken breasts and chicken thighs and just like meats basically and fats. But that's really not keto. Keto is 80% of the calories should come from fat. So that means that if you have too much protein, that's bad. So what happens is your body is so efficient at using glucose for fuel, because again, your body runs off glucose, that even if you have too much protein, your body's going to convert that protein into carbs, into energy, into glucose in your body. So if you think that you're on a keto diet, but you're having high protein shakes, things like that, like just higher amounts of protein, you are not in ketosis. Generally, you won't be. Your carb intake can be really low, but if your protein intake is too high, you're still gonna have, your body's gonna convert that extra protein into glucose. That's why a true ketogenic diet, 80% of the calories need to come from fat. So can you imagine just eating just fat? So 80% of your calories, that means like butter, certain cheeses that are fattier cuts of cheeses, avocados, things that are very low in carb, very low in protein, and very, very high in fat. Oils, I guess like bacon would be another one that's a really good one because it's high in fat. So those types of things, like realistically, diet-wise, is that really, really feasible? Coconut oils, MCT oils, all those types of oils, like that has to be the base of your diet. Think about that for a second. That's not a lot of food. You're really kind of limited to what you can actually eat on a true ketogenic diet. Okay, yeah, you're gonna have some vegetables, but again, your carb intake can't go so high, so you have to cook those vegetables in a ton of like oil and fats in order to hit those calories at that level. So think about that. Is that something that you really can do? Just fats? Because that's a true keto diet. Like I said, most people are just on a low carb diet. That's not keto. Keto is high fat. That was number 2. So number 3, initially when you switch over, so from starting from a regular diet into a keto diet, you're going to start to experience symptoms known as the keto flu, okay? And basically that's your body shifting from using carbohydrates as energy to fat into energy. And you actually kind of get a little sick. You have to go through that little bit of a process. So you have to be prepared for that. So in addition to the keto flu, you're also going to have to pee on sticks. You have to pee on a stick almost every day, or take your blood. There's like a little blood prick thing. You take your blood or you pee on a stick every day in order to make sure to see if you're in ketosis. You gotta check that. I mean, initially you want to do it more frequently. As you're in ketosis, you could do it a lot less. But initially you have to be doing it very so often to make sure that you're in ketosis. Remember, once you get into ketosis and you come out, you have to go back in. So you might experience that flu a couple of times. You know, so let's say you get into ketosis, you experience that flu, you're in keto for a little bit, then you have a carbohydrates, whatever. Let's say you have a cheat meal. I hate that, but you have a cheat day and you go crazy and eat a whole bunch of carbs. Then you have to go back on keto and get back into ketosis, so you may get that flu again. So just be ready. Are you ready to prick your finger, pee on a stick, and possibly have flu-like symptoms in order to do this? All right, so just that was number 3. So we're about halfway through, guys. But I want to know if you ever did the keto diet, what were your thoughts on it? Was it sustainable? Comment down below. Let me know. I'm just curious what people's reactions are to keto and if they've done it, if it was sustainable, and what their experiences were. So number 4, okay, cheat meals push everything over the edge. So again, going back to what I said, so if primarily all of your calories are coming from fat right now, when everybody in ketosis, they always say, oh, you get a day to break and you can have carbs and you could kind of have that in the cheat meals. It just associates food with cheating and carbs with bad. It's just not sustainable. It gives you a bad image and a bad relationship with food. There's no such thing as a cheat meal. You know, and when you have those cheat meals, it pushes those total calories over for the week. Remember, you don't lose body fat, which is like this. This is 1 pound of body fat, okay? 1 pound of body fat is actually good progress. If you could burn 1 pound of pure body fat a week, you're gonna set yourself up for a really, really great physique. But anyway, in order to burn 1 pound of body fat, you need to have a 3,500 calorie deficit, whether that means doing cardio, whether that means being in a calorie deficit. But if you don't lose weight over one day, you lose it over weeks and months. So if you're supposed to have 1,800 calories every day and you have a 4,000 calorie cheat meal, it's gonna push your weekly calories super high and you'll net no progress for that week, even though you were in ketosis. So the law of thermodynamics doesn't change just because you're in keto. It's not like your body's in this magical thing where you're just gonna be burning fat all day. You still need to be keeping track of how many calories you're consuming. And then remember, on that stupid cheat day that you get, it's gonna shoot those calories way up because now you're having things you haven't had before. So now you're having your pastas, your breads, your fruits, everything you're not having during the week, you're having it all on that one day, and it's gonna shoot those calories way up and you're gonna yield zero progress. Versus doing something like flexible dieting where you basically have a budget of calories to eat for the day, a budget of protein, a budget of carbs, a budget of fat, and you fit whatever you want to eat into that budget. That's way more sustainable than no carbs, no protein, no carbs, no protein, then bam, everything on one day. No good. All right, number 5, less pumps in the gym. So your body primarily runs off glucose, and what happens is your body takes that glucose and stores it inside the muscle cell as glycogen in your liver and your muscles as something called glycogen. That's what your body uses for performance. So typically when you get a good pump in the gym, your muscles feel nice and pumped up and whatever, that's usually from having adequate amounts of glycogen in your muscles. And when you diet, you normally lose a little bit of that anyway, but if you're taking out carbohydrates completely, you're gonna feel flat and feel not pumped up all the time. You may even experience a decrease in performance in the gym. Again, everybody's a little bit different, but that might happen for you, it might not happen. But typically, your body's primary source of fuel is glucose. So again, if you're not having carbohydrates, you're not gonna feel as strong in the gym. And there actually was a couple studies, I don't know them off the top of my head, but there was a couple of studies that showed that in powerlifters and peak performance, low carb diets really weren't as good. All right, so just keep that in mind. Again, every person's a little different. Maybe you went on keto, maybe you had a ton of energy in the gym. Okay, you're an anomaly apparently. So again, take it for what it's worth. Everybody's a little bit different. And number 6, and this is the most important one, sustainability. Is keto sustainable? Is this sustainable? Are you going to be able to eat 80% of your calories from fat every day for the rest of your life? Think about that. I can't even imagine going out to eat and, all right, I'm going to have just fat. I'm going to have a really big fatty steak and that's it. Like, regardless, something's going to come up one day where you're going to have something that's not that. Whether it's someone's birthday, whether it's your birthday, whether it's, or you just lose willpower. You only have a certain amount of fuel in the tank willpower-wise. You may get to that point one day where you're just like, you know what, screw this, and you go crazy. And it happens, and it's part of it, but it's not sustainable. It's really, really not sustainable to have 80% of your calories every day come from just fat sources. It's not sustainable long term. And the main thing is, this is why I love flexible dieting so much, is that is sustainable long term. It's sustainable long term because you're fitting the things in that you want every day. I never feel like I'm dieting. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I never feel like I'm dieting. I always feel satisfied with my food choices. And I believe that I have a good relationship with food because I don't look at food for what it is. I look at it for how much carbs, how much fats, how much protein. Exactly the way your body looks at food is the way that I look at food. And it's a healthier way to look at it. Whereas if I was on keto, I would be demonizing every piece of carbohydrate out there because it wouldn't fit. So you really got to think about that. Is that going to be sustainable for your life? Are you going to be, if you have kids, are you going to be able to sit down and have dinner with your kids, on keto? Are you going to be able to go out to eat with your friends on keto? Are you going to be able to, drink? Your friends are going out there. Are you going to be able to do that? So you gotta really outweigh the pros and the cons, because remember, you don't want to start a diet and do it for 12 weeks and then that's it. We want it to be sustainable. I want every pound of body fat for you to lose to be the last time you have to lose that body fat. And something like flexible dieting is going to be a much more better approach and a much more long-term sustainable approach to keep that pound of body fat off every time. All right, guys, make sure you watch this video right here. This one's really good and it's going to help you push things a little bit further. And in the comments below, I'm also going to be putting the blueprint to success on how you can transform your body. So you can head on over, click that link. And also in that same comment, I'm also going to put my private Facebook group so you guys can join our group and see how it works on the inside. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.